Alright, we are here in Dr. Wily's fortress. Alright, so let's go Mega Man. The first screen is pretty easy, just defeat all of the enemies. I like to use charge shots. There are only 3 enemies, so it's not that bad. This screen is harder. You have these enemies which only open up at a certain time. And if you're really good, you can use Dust Crusher to defeat both of them at the same time. Aw, man. Well, just take my word on it, it looks really cool when you use Dust Crusher to defeat both enemies at once. Other than that, I'm not really sure there's much use for the Dust Crusher. It's good if you're being chased by a bunch of enemies, but because this is the Game Boy version, they don't usually have situations where there are a bunch of enemies chasing Mega Man at once. Whenever that happens, you have horrid sprite flicker. So they generally avoid it. Alrighty, and those were the 2 shield attack enemies. Here we have the 2 bats, easily dispatched. Dr. Wily's castle has some difficult parts to it, to be sure, but the difficulty is basically that it has a lot of different screens for you to go through. Like this screen is probably the first really difficult screen of the stage. All the other screens, they were somewhat difficult. They were basically just fighting enemies, that's all. And I died. Let me try that again. Those are the platforms which make you fall the second you stand on them, so you need to jump onto them and immediately jump afterwards. And here you want to make Rush Jet appear at the perfect level, so you can ride Rush Jet to the right and not be hit by those spikes. Okay, that looks good. Look out for the enemies from the ceiling, and you will want to jump at the end, otherwise you'll fall directly on those spikes. Here, just slide underneath the spikes. It's kind of difficult because you can't see anything, so get really close to the spikes, and then slide. Then use Shadow Blade to destroy the thing on the ceiling. Go to the spikes, slide, go to the spikes, slide. Don't do a large jump or you'll hit that spike that was on the ceiling. And here we have grenades. You can use Shadow Blade to defeat them, but I'm being safe and waiting for them to go to the left. As you see, when you destroy the grenades, they explode, and they can hit you with the explosion while you're still on the ladder. And this right here is a good challenge. You have 3 or so screens of you climbing up a ladder. You want to charge a shot to defeat the Skull Joe right over here. And other than that, I think you're pretty much finished with the challenge of climbing up the ladder. This is another challenge. I just use dive missiles to get through this. The other way to do it is by charging a shot and then climbing up, firing off the shot, and then climbing back down. But that's harder to do. And here we go. This is the save point. This is the first save point. How many screens was that? 12? 10? More of those enemies. I hate those enemies which always pop up and then they attack you. They pop up unexpectedly and they tend to pop up exactly at the moment you're jumping. So the instant you destroy one of those enemies, jump over the pit. And just really hope to get lucky. Right, there's Hammer Joe. And you have to be careful about this because the enemies can still hit you while you're on the ladder. That is, when you make the jump to the ladder, the enemies will remain there. Here, you want to destroy the enemy. It takes a lot of shots to destroy the enemy, so make sure to jump over his counterattacks. And here's another screen, just like the Dustman challenge, except fortunately this time around you don't have any pieces of dust to blow out of the way. Instead you have spikes, which kill you the instant you touch them, and more of the ballerina hard hats. But still, this is pretty easy. This is easier than the challenge with the pieces of dust, even though it's more dangerous. You just need to memorize where all the spikes are, and be very patient, and destroy every single hard hat you see, and that's all you have to do. I think the reason why it's easier to do this than the challenge in Dustman stage is because the gaps that you have to slide under are not as long as they were in Dustman stage. Here they're only 2 spaces long. In Dustman stage, they were like 5 spaces long. Here's a screen where you have a staircase, and immediately after the staircase you have a challenge where you have to go across a pit of spikes, either by jumping or by using the rush jet. I have a lot of rush jet, so I'm basically just going to use it. And you can land on this pipe here. Just thought I'd point that out. Ah, and here's something different. We have a staircase leading to a screen where you have to get over a pit of spikes by using rush jet. Yes, totally different. Ooh, E-Tank. Awesome. Use the drill missile to defeat the barrier, and then use rush coil to get the E-Tank. If you're really desperate for E-Tanks in the final battle, just go through this stage over and over and over again, and get the E-Tank every single time until you have 4 E-Tanks. Alright, full health from Eddie! And this is a save point. We're coming up on the mid-boss here. Well, I think we still have 3 screens before we fight the mid-boss, but this is a pretty easy screen. Just hard hats. Yeah, that's it. Hope you're good at fighting hard hats, because those are the only enemies on this screen. Let me see, I'm just going to dive missile this enemy. The enemy can't hurt me while I'm on the ladder. Wow, dive missile is really ineffective. Okay, I'm just gonna kill the enemy normally, and here's another hard hat. I think the thing which really makes the ballerina hard hats difficult is that it takes 3 hits to kill them. Other than that, they're really simple. They're easier than the normal hard hats because they only fire in one direction. Alright, we have full health going into the boss battle against Giant Susie, I believe. Remember the mid-stage? You know, the stage before we had the 4 Mega Man 4 bosses? We had to fight a boss called Giant Susie. That's the boss that we are going to fight here. We have to fight Giant Susie a second time. The boss's weakness is the Spark Shock, so make sure to use it during this battle. Not much to say about this battle, just try to dodge. Susie's being very nice here and not doing any of these tricky jumps, which she did right there, which are the bounce jumps. Those are the ones that are harder to dodge. As long as Susie doesn't do a bounce jump, then it's really easy to dodge that enemy and destroy it. Alright, way to go, Mega Man. You know, this would be another good place to use the Dust Crusher to kill both enemies at once and look really cool. However, the enemy on top is really easy to defeat, so I guess you really shouldn't bother. And you know what? That hard hat in the corner is basically going to have no chance of attacking you. So, I don't even know why they put that hard hat there. Okay, more enemies? Maybe? Okay, I'm just going to use Shadow Blade. Alright. I think we're coming close to the end. Okay, 3 hard hats. Okay, I'll kill the one on the bottom first. Drop down. Bam. Okay, charge up the shot. Yes. This is good. You really shouldn't have to refill special weapons at this point, because you're really close to the end of the game. Oh, and we have this enemy. I think Rush Jet will be the easiest way to get through this challenge. Alright, that's good. Here's this enemy again. Destroy it with special weapons. It can jump. I totally forgot that this enemy can jump. Oh well. I don't need full health to fight the boss. Rush coil. Yes. And this is a save point. This is the final screen before the boss battle. Here, use Rush Jet again. You can use Rush Coil here. It might be easier to use Rush Coil. Oh no, not this enemy, my least favorite enemy of the game. I always defeat this enemy with Shadow Blades because it appears to be weak to Shadow Blades. Also here with Shadow Blade you can get it on the boomerang effect. As you saw there, I hurt the enemy when the Shadow Blade was coming back to Mega Man. And here we have the boulders from the ceiling, which are the ones that I can't dodge. And here we have Hammer Joe, where you really do have to slide to avoid his attacks. And I don't care that I'm hurt right now, because I am about to fight Dr. Wily.